So I work for Biddulph Primary Care Network, so across 5 practices, and Biddulph Valley Surgery is one of those. So a fairly large practice with about 9,000 patients, and I work for the pharmacy team primarily. So I help to coordinate the pharmacists to prioritise their patients for structured medication reviews. So as we work for the PCN, we don't have the admin team in the practice to book our patients in, so the pharmacists were finding that they were having to do that regularly by themselves. So for structured medication review, there's 28 slots per week. So the pharmacists work down these lists and book them into a slot and text the patient the time and date of that appointment, with an attachment of the details of what that structured medication review will entail. And then the patient's advised if it's not convenient to call the practice and reschedule. With that, you do tend to get a lot of patients who don't reschedule, if it's not convenient, or they haven't seen the original text message. So we do tend to get quite a few DNAs. Yeah, and plus the time it takes, because obviously you've got to go to booking screen. It sounds like not very much. You've got to go to your appointment screen, book the patient in, go to AccuRx, send the text, manually fill in the details of when that appointment's going to be, which a couple of minutes here and there all adds up to a significant amount of time for the pharmacist to be doing that. And then, yeah, if the patient's using their own appointment, they're fully aware of that appointment and in control and more likely to turn up. We use the AccuRx software, but it was a bit of a workaround because that's designed to respond to patient triage queries and a text sent out, whereas we wanted to invite lists of patients. So you could only send the message out individually, and it's not quite in tune with what we wanted to use it for. A solution for booking patients into your appointment slots without going through your admin team, or your admin team hasn't got to do the full extent of that work. You can send that message out to groups of patients that you want to target, and they can you can build it into the template as a patient response, so that if someone does require an appointment, you can send the relevant link to the relevant clinician, and just puts out a lot of that admin time. The fact that we could send it out to batch groups of patients, so we have those lists there that just run automatically. We could add the code in that they received an invitation, so they come off that list for a couple of months and then can be resent a couple of months later. It's the time thing that we can target all those lists in one go with one clicking of send, and all those patients get that invite and then can make the arrangements to book it in after that, whereas before it was very individual, one by one. Yeah, I think it's very straightforward. I think you showed me a couple of times. I watched you set up the phlebotomist clinic and then the pharmacist, and then I was able to add the other pharmacist by myself. It refreshes really quickly. I was surprised actually how quickly it pulls that information through. I'd booked a patient this morning, and then when I checked in Hero, it was there. Yes, so on the first day we set it up, I sent it to around 20 patients, and then another 40 the next day, and then yesterday I sent it out to a list of about 100 patients. Yeah, I haven't had any complaints from the receptionist I was expecting, so I thought it might trigger a lot of phone calls to the reception because I've had this text message and I don't know what to do with it. I've not been told off by any of the admin team, so that's always a bonus. Yeah, so the pharmacists at Biddulph, who work at Biddulph for the PCN, their first, I think today, they've got patients that booked via Hero, so I'll be later to see if they've had any feedback from the patients. But yeah, they were really excited because it's them that it saves the time who were before having to manually book those patients in. So yeah, they were really keen to get this going. The first couple of lists that were quite small, And when I spoke to Pete on Tuesday, I was like, send the other ones, fill them up, because I was kind of conscious of filling all their slots too quickly. And he said, no, fill them, get them out. Yeah, definitely, because I've already had like thoughts of how else we can utilise it. So I'm looking to do a hypertension check drop-in session. Well, originally it is still planned to be a drop-in session where patients come in, have the hypertension checked. If it's high, then they can take home a blood pressure monitor with them and do us a week of readings. For Biddulph Valley, we could make an appointment book for that drop-in session and split it down into appointments and send the links out, and patients could book into it. Obviously we can only do that at the moment at Biddulph Valley because the others don't have it, whereas if the others did, we could send the links out and make it much more manageable.